The kitchen smelled like roasted garlic, but the air behind it smelled like something meant to burn. That was the first thing I noticed. Not the golden hour light pouring through Eliza Monroe's window. Not the careful table, set for two, with folded cloth napkins and a roast chicken cooling under a loose sheet of foil. Not even the way she stood in the middle of her warm kitchen in a white cotton dress, holding a water glass so tightly her knuckles had gone pale. I noticed the ozone first. Sharp, metallic, wrong. Under the garlic. Under the candle wax. Under the clean soap scent of a house prepared for company. There was the faint chemical bite of accelerant near the back door. Eliza looked past my shoulder toward the window. She did not blink. That was the second thing I noticed. The woman who lived next door to me had always been composed. She moved through the neighborhood with a quiet kind of precision, trash bins lined up straight, porch light replaced before it flickered twice, mail collected before sunset. She worked in safety compliance for a regional supply chain company, which meant order was not just her preference. It was her language. Tonight, her left hand was crushing a cloth napkin into a knot. "Daxton," she said. Her voice was steady. Too steady. "You made it." I did. I stopped just inside the threshold and let the door close behind me. I did not ask what was wrong. In my work as a fire captain and arson investigator, I had learned that panic gets louder when you corner it with questions. First, you read the room. Then you remove what can hurt someone. Then you ask. My jacket came off slowly. I draped it over the back of a chair. The table was beautiful in the careful way of someone trying to prove she was not afraid. 2 plates. 2 glasses. Salad untouched. Chicken cooling. A small dish of roasted potatoes set slightly off-center. Like she had placed it down and then forgotten to fix it. Eliza never forgot small corrections. Traffic was light from the station, I said. She nodded once. Good. That's good. Her eyes flicked to the back window again. I followed the movement without turning my head. Window, latch, locked. Blinds open. Side door deadbolt turned. Chain not engaged. Porch light off. Shadows gathered in the backyard where the fence met the alley. Something had happened before I walked in. Something she had not decided how to say. I moved toward the side door. Not fast enough to startle her. I checked the chain and slid it into place. The metal scrape made her flinch. "What are you doing?" "Securing the easy entry," I said. "Habit." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I pulled a chair from the table and sat, keeping my posture relaxed and my hands visible. Proximity without pressure. Safety without command. "It smells incredible," I said. "It's just chicken." The station serves chicken that tastes like someone apologized to it too late. This is better. A small sound escaped her, almost a laugh. It died before it reached her eyes. She set the water glass down. The base hit the table harder than she meant it to. I looked at her right hand, laughed. Her thumbnail pressed into the side of her index finger, hard enough to leave a pale crescent. I had seen that once before, months ago, when a delivery driver blocked her driveway and shouted at her for honking. She had stood straight, spoken calmly, then gone inside and held her mailbox key like it was the only thing keeping her hand from shaking. She did not run from confrontation. She absorbed it until it bruised somewhere no one could see. I served a small portion onto my plate, then held the platter toward her. She shook her head. "Not hungry?" Waiting for my stomach to settle. The kitchen ticked softly as the oven cooled. Outside, a car moved slowly down the street, tires whispering over pavement. Eliza's eyes snapped toward the window. There it was, the question sitting between us. Why was a woman this disciplined terrified inside her own kitchen right after inviting me over to dinner? I set my fork down. "Eliza," I said quietly, "I investigate fires for a living. I know what kerosene smells like when it soaks into wood, and I can smell it near your back porch." The glass trembled under her hand. "Not much. Enough." "You can smell it?" "Yes." Her face drained of color. She looked at the oven mitt still looped around her wrist as if she had forgotten it belonged there. "I saw him," she said. "Who?" "Vance Rowley." I waited. "He worked with me, Until 3 months ago. Warehouse safety supervisor. He was skipping lockout protocol on the loading bay equipment to keep his numbers clean. A forklift operator nearly lost his hand because Vance wanted a report to look efficient. Her voice stayed flat, but the napkin twisted tighter. I filed the compliance report. I testified. He was fired. His arbitration hearing is next week. And if my report stands, he loses his certification. That was the leverage. What did he do tonight? I was setting the table. I saw his truck at the end of the cul-de-sac. Then I saw him walking up my driveway. He didn't knock. He went around the back gate. A few minutes later, the smell started. She swallowed. The police told me his emails were harassment, but not enough. They said without a direct threat or physical action. Now there's physical action. She looked at me. I stood and moved toward the back door. Stay where you can see me, I said. You can say no to anything I do in your house. Clear? Her fingers loosened slightly around the napkin. Clear. I did not turn on the exterior light. Backlighting yourself in a window is how you become a target. I leaned close, shielded the interior glow with one hand, and looked through the glass. The patio was empty, but at the base of the wooden threshold, a dark, oily stain spread into the grain. A rag was tucked against the porch board, soaked and folded like someone had placed it carefully. Not lit. Placed. A message pretending to be a fuse. He left a soaked rag. I said, no flame? It's intimidation, but it is also evidence. Eliza's breath caught. I pulled out my phone and started recording through the glass without opening the door. Time is 7:18 p.m., I said into the camera. Residential. Back porch. Visible accelerant-soaked cloth at exterior threshold. No active flame. No visible suspect. Occupant reports prior harassment connected to pending safety compliance arbitration. Eliza stepped closer. Still behind me. You're recording it? Before anything moves. My porch camera points at the driveway, she said suddenly. Not the back door, but the side gate. It might have caught him. Good. Her mind was coming back to tools. Do you have the app? She nodded. Open it. Don't delete anything. Don't download yet. Just confirm it exists. She moved to the counter, picked up her phone, then stopped. Her hand hovered over the screen. Daxton. Yes? If I do this, it becomes real. It already is, I said. This just makes it harder for him to lie about it. Her jaw tightened. Then she opened the app. Her thumb stopped pressing into her finger. There, she said. 6:58. Side gate. I moved beside her, leaving space between us. The video showed a man in a dark jacket slipping through the narrow gate with one hand tucked close to his body. The angle caught his profile when he turned. Vance Rowley. Eliza's hand shook once. Then she set the phone flat on the counter and pressed both palms beside it. I'm not withdrawing my report, she said. The words were quiet. They changed the whole room. I nodded. Then we preserve everything. I called dispatch directly using my station contact and requested a silent approach. No sirens. No porch lights. Patrol sweep first. Evidence tech if available. Then I asked Eliza to call 911 herself and report as the homeowner, because her voice needed to be on the record too. She did it. Not perfectly. Her voice shook on the address, and she corrected the dispatcher when the dispatcher misheard Vance's last name. That correction mattered more than calm would have. When she hung up, I reached for the front door. I need the evidence kit from my truck. Her hand hit the deadbolt before mine reached the knob. The sound cracked through the room. No. I stopped. She stood beside me, eyes wide, breathing controlled by force. He could be outside, she said. He could be waiting for me to come out. Or you. Number. He saw your truck in my driveway. The rag is still a vapor hazard. It's not lit. You said that. Yes. And dispatch is coming. Yes. Then we wait until the officers sweep the street. You don't walk into the dark because you're used to being the person who goes first. I looked at her hand on the deadbolt. She was afraid. She was also right. That was the first thing she gave me that was not fear. A correction. I let my hand drop. Okay, I said. We wait. Her shoulders lowered by 1 inch. Thank you. But we control the room while we wait. She nodded. I drew the kitchen blinds, turned off the lamp by the window, moved our phones away from the glass, asked her for tape, marker, and a freezer bag from the pantry. I wrote the time and location on the bag before anything went inside it, then left it sealed and empty on the counter for the police to use if they wanted a homeowner-provided secondary layer. Eliza watched every step. Not helpless. Learning. The knock came 6 minutes later. 3 measured hits. I checked the peephole. Officer Miller stood on the porch with another officer behind him. Miller had worked enough fire scenes with me to know I did not call unless the smoke had already found wood. I opened the door. Captain Pierce, he said. Back porch. Suspect left the scene. Homeowner has camera footage of Vance Rowley entering through the side gate at 6:58. Rag visible at threshold. Strong kerosene odor. No ignition. Miller looked past me to Eliza. Miss Monroe, are you hurt? No, she said, and I want to make a statement. Miller nodded. We'll do this carefully. For the next hour, the house became procedure. Photos first. Exterior sweep. Evidence markers. Rag lifted with gloves. Bagged. Tagged. Stain photographed with scale. Side gate footage preserved. Eliza's 911 call number written on Miller's pad. My recording saved but not transferred until Miller noted chain of custody. Miller's pen was blue. Halfway through the statement, he reached into his pocket for a black one and muttered, Wrong color for the supplemental. Eliza looked at me. It was the smallest thing. A human thing. The room loosened around it. When Miller sealed the evidence bag, he turned to her. Captain Pierce was right to keep that door closed until we swept the perimeter. He said, and this documentation helps. Video, timeline, physical accelerant. This gives the DA more than harassment. Eliza's fingers closed around the edge of the counter. What does that mean? It means attempted arson and stalking are on the table. Miller said, It also means we push for a temporary protection order first thing in the morning. She breathed in. This time, the breath reached her shoulders. After the officers left, the kitchen felt hollow. The roast chicken sat cold under the foil. The garlic smell had faded, leaving degreaser, ozone, and something tired. Eliza stood beside the table and stared at the plates. I ruined dinner, she said. No, I said. Vance did. I opened the foil, cut a small piece of chicken, and tasted it cold. She blinked. What are you doing? Evaluating evidence. And? Excellent seasoning, poor temperature. A laugh escaped her before she could stop it. I took the bottle of heavy-duty cleaner from under her sink, checked the label for wood safety, then looked at her. Do you want the stain cleaned tonight or documented again tomorrow before cleanup? She glanced at the back door. Her fingers moved toward her thumbnail, then stopped. Documented tomorrow, she said. If it stays visible, I won't convince myself it wasn't real. Good call. I put the cleaner back. Agency mattered more than a spotless porch. At the door, I wrote my direct cell number on a page from my notebook and placed it beside the empty water glass. This stays on, I said. If you hear anything, call me before you decide whether you're overreacting. I live 20 seconds away. She looked at the paper. I hate that. I need that. I need that. You don't need it forever. And a tenity, just tonight. She walked me to the porch. I stepped outside. The air was cool and still. Across the lawn, my own house sat dark, except for the porch light that buzzed every few seconds because I kept forgetting to replace the fixture. Eliza noticed the sound. Your porch light is terrible. I know. You fixed mine. I don't have to live across from mine. That got another small laugh. Lock the door behind me, I said. She nodded. I waited until the deadbolt turned. Then I crossed the grass to my house, listening to the bad porch light buzz like an insect in the dark. For 3 nights, I crossed the wet grass without knocking. I checked the side gate, the porch shadow, the window latch, the backyard fence line. I did not make a show of it. I did not text her afterward. I just made the loop after shift, boots crunching on the gravel path between our houses, and went home. On the fourth night, rain turned the street black. I had just finished checking her gate when her porch light came on. The door opened. Eliza stood there in an oversized gray sweater, hair pulled into a clip that leaned badly to one side. She held 2 mugs. "You're getting soaked," she called. "I'm fine." That wasn't a question. I walked up the steps. She handed me a mug. Black coffee. No sugar. No cream. I had not told her. "You've been checking the house every night," she said. "It takes 2 minutes. It makes me sleep." I looked at her. She looked down into her mug. "When I hear your boots on the gravel around 7, I stop listening for his truck." The rain tapped the porch roof. There are sentences that ask for something without demanding it. That one settled in my chest and stayed. "Miller update you?" I asked. "Vance skipped arbitration. His attorney says he's unreachable. That moves him from angry to cornered." "I know." Tomorrow, she had to go into the office to present the final vendor safety report. The same report Vance wanted withdrawn. The same report that cost him his job. "What time is the meeting?" 10. "I'll drive." "You don't have to." "No," I said. "I don't." That made her look up. I continued. "You can take an Uber. You can ask company security. You can call Miller and request a patrol standby. Or I can drive and walk you in through the secure garage. Your choice." She held the mug with both hands. "Which would you choose if it were your case?" "I'd use the person who knows the threat profile and has nothing to gain from the meeting." "That's you." "Yes." She took one breath. "Then yes, pick me up at 9:30. The next morning, she stepped out in a navy blazer and black trousers. Polished enough for war. But she kept checking the street before she locked her door. In the truck, I did not feel the quiet. I checked mirrors, logged the gray pickup that turned behind us twice, and then peeled off toward the interstate. At the office garage, I parked near the elevator bank instead of dropping her at the curb. "You're waiting here all day?" she asked. I brought case files. "That sounds awful." "It is. Go win." At noon, Miller texted. "Vance missed arbitration. Warrant priority raised." At 2, the garage camera caught a gray pickup circling the entrance once, but the plate was too muddy to read. At 4, I stood by the elevator before the doors opened. Eliza stepped out carrying a folder against her chest. She looked tired. She also looked taller. "I submitted it," she said. "The report?" "The report. The statement. The supplemental. All of it." The relief hit so fast, I had to look at the concrete pillar beside her instead of her face. "Good." Her mouth curved. "That's it?" "That's a big word from me." "Good?" "Good." We almost smiled at each other. Then my phone rang. "Miller," I answered. "Pierce." "Captain." We found the motel room. Vance was gone, but his laptop was there. Search history shows public property records. Your address and hers. He also searched fire department shift schedules. My hand tightened around the phone. Eliza saw it. Miller continued. "Patrols headed to your street. We're checking traffic cameras for the pickup. Do not go home until I call you." "Understood." I hung up. Eliza's face had gone pale. "What?" He found my address too. Her hand went to her mouth. "Daxton, I pulled you into this." "No," I said. "You reported a dangerous man." He chose the rest. "We can go to a hotel." "Too public." "The police station?" "Good for statements. Bad for sleeping." "Your station?" "He may know my shift patterns." She looked at me. The panic was there. So was the calculation. "Cabin," I said. "A friend owns one off Route 9. Unlisted road. Gated. I've used it after fire investigations when I needed quiet." "Is it safe?" "Safer than our street tonight." She nodded once. "Then we go." Not dragged. Not rescued. She chose. The cabin sat 40 minutes outside the city in a stand of pines that swallowed road noise whole. I unlocked the gate, drove through, locked it behind us, then checked the cabin before she came in. Windows latched, back door secure, smoke detectors working, fireplace clean. It's cold, she said, stepping inside. I'll build a fire. Pantry. Should have soup. She did not wait for instructions. She found cans, checked expiration dates, rejected one with a dent, and heated tomato soup on the old electric stove while I stacked kindling. For an hour, we worked like two people who had never shared a kitchen and somehow knew where not to stand. We ate on the floor near the fireplace, bowls balanced on our knees. No sirens. No traffic. Just pine, smoke, and the soft pop of burning wood. Eliza set her bowl down. My ex-husband left on a Tuesday, she said. I looked at her. She stared at the fire. He packed while I was at work. Left a note beside the coffee maker. He said he couldn't survive routine, that he needed unpredictability. Freedom. She gave a small laugh with no humor in it. I spent 3 years making my life so orderly that no one could pull a floor out from under me again. A log settled in the fireplace. Sparks lifted, then vanished. And now Vance found a way into the one place that was mine. I did not reach for her. My hand moved half an inch on my knee, and I stopped it. She noticed. Of course she did. You want to fix this, she said. Yes. You can't fix that part. No. The honesty sat between us. She looked at the phone on the floor. What happens next? I gave her the truth in pieces she could hold. Miller matches the pickup if the cameras caught a plate. Motel laptop goes into evidence. Gas purchase records if they find cans. Your porch footage. The rag. Your statement. My first video. The arbitration motive. Then DA pushes charges, and the protection order becomes easier to extend. She nodded. What do I do? Pick one thing for the next hour, I said. You can call Miller with me and ask to add the office garage sighting. Or you can sit here while I write the timeline and read it back before I send it. Or you can do nothing for 60 minutes because you already did enough today. Her eyes filled, but she did not look away. Timeline, she said. I want to hear it before it goes. So I wrote. She corrected 2 times. Once because I had the arbitration date wrong by a day. Once because the gray pickup had a cracked passenger side mirror. And she remembered it from the first night. That detail mattered later. At 2:13 inches the morning, my phone vibrated across the floorboards. Eliza sat upright before I answered. Pierce. Miller's voice came through tight and tired. We got him. Eliza gripped the edge of the blanket. I put the phone on speaker. Miller continued. Traffic camera caught the cracked passenger mirror turning onto your street. Patrol found him circling the block behind your houses. 2 gas cans in the truck bed. Kerosene receipt from a station near the motel. Gloves. Lighter. And your addresses printed from the laptop. He is in custody. DA is reviewing attempted arson, stalking, and violation tied to intimidation of a witness. Eliza covered her mouth. No sobiet. Just shock trying to become relief. Miller added. And Miss Monroe? Yes, she whispered. Your porch video and Captain Pierce's first recording made the difference. That timeline is clean. You did good. A tear slid down her face. She did not wipe it away. Thank you, she said. After the call ended, the cabin was quiet except for the fire. Eliza folded forward, elbows on her knees, both hands over her face. I moved beside her, not touching until she reached for my sleeve. Then I wrapped one arm around her shoulders. She leaned into me, not because she had no strength left, because she had finally found a place to set it down. At sunrise, we drove back. The street looked almost ordinary. Damp lawns, trash bins, my bad porch light buzzing every few seconds like it was proud of surviving. Miller met us at Eliza's house with a folder and a paper coffee cup. The wrong color pen was tucked behind his ear. Temporary protection order paperwork, he said. DA wants your supplemental statement before noon. Vance is not walking out today. Eliza took the folder. Her fingers trembled once, then steadied. I'll sign it inside, she said. Miller looked at me. Captain, your documentation gave us enough to connect the porch. Motel, truck, and gas. Purchase. Without guessing, DA's happy. I didn't do it alone. No, Miller said, looking at Eliza. You didn't. She opened her front door, then stopped. On the threshold, she turned back to me. The kitchen behind her still held the cold table from that first night. The cloth napkin she had crushed lay beside the plate, wrinkled and real. So, she said, my neighbor invited me over to eat. I looked at her. Her mouth softened, then locked the door and said, You can't go home yet. The exact shape of that first night came back, her hand on the deadbolt. Her refusal to let me walk into the dark. The way fear and care had sounded almost the same. I thought you were scared, I said. I was. She stepped onto the porch. But that wasn't the only reason. My pulse changed. She noticed. I'm not asking you to move in, she said. I'm not asking you to fix the house or the case or me. I'm asking you to come inside. Help me sign this statement. And then stay for breakfast. Tomorrow, when nobody is running on fear. You can ask me if I still want you here. I looked at the folder in her hand. The open door. The open door. The kitchen. The woman standing in front of me. Choosing the next step instead of surrendering to the last terror. That's a careful offer, I said. I learned from a careful man. I'm not that careful. No, she said. You're terrified of wanting anything you can't evacuate. That landed clean. No cruelty. Just accuracy. I stepped onto the porch. Breakfast, I said. And the statement? And the statement. She let me in. 4 months later, the kitchen smelled like roasted garlic again. No ozone. No kerosene. No sharp metallic edge under the warmth. The same table sat near the window. The same plates? Though this time, one had a small chip on the rim from when I dropped it during our third attempt at making dinner without turning it into a safety drill. The same cloth napkins. Now, folded square and clean. One beside each plate. The porch light at my house no longer buzzed. Eliza had replaced the fixture herself after watching me ignore it for too long. I stood at the island chopping peppers while she leaned against the counter, reading an email from the DA on her tablet. Vance took the plea, she said. I know. She looked up. Miller called you? 8 this morning. 5 years. Protection order extended. Certification permanently revoked. She set the tablet down. For a moment, she simply stood there in the warm light, breathing in a kitchen that belonged to her again. Then she opened the small porcelain bowl near the door and took out a brass key. My key. I recognized the worn edge because it had spent years in my own lock. She walked back and held it out. My lease is up next month, she said. I'm not moving because I'm scared. I'm not moving because of Vance. I'm moving because every time I cross the grass to your house, it feels less like leaving mine and more like going home. I looked at the key in her palm. You sure? No, she said. That made me smile. She smiled too. I'm sure enough to ask carefully, she continued. We keep both houses for a while. We move slow. We argue about your porch light standards. And if it stops feeling right, we say so before anything burns. The roasted garlic popped softly in the pan. I took the key. It was warm from her hand. Then I reached past her, picked up the wrinkled cloth napkin from that first night, now washed but still faintly creased at one corner, and set it beside the stove. You kept this? She lifted one shoulder. Evidence. Of what? That I can be afraid and still choose. I folded the napkin once. The crease remained. Good. Some marks should stay visible. Not as damage, but as proof that the thing held. Eliza stepped closer and rested her hand over mine on the counter. No urgency. No fear. No locked door between us and the world. Just roasted, garlic, a warm kitchen, and a brass key, heavy with a future, we had decided to build carefully. I used to think safety was a locked door, a drawn blind, a clean perimeter, a threat contained before anyone had to feel it. I was wrong. Safety is when someone can hand you the key and still keep their own voice. The end. Closing thoughts. Core lesson. Real safety is built through consistent actions, not dramatic promises. Green flag. Healthy love respects boundaries, gives both people agency, and becomes steady after the fear is gone. Please like and subscribe so we can share more stories like this.